Clic. Marc. Ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue. Hey, hey, hey. Marc. Gazo.
My name is Marc and I'm an artist in Washington Square.
Nice to meet you, Mark. My name is Chris.
Nice to meet you guys.
So, how is it being an artist, Mark? How is it?
It's pretty good, man. It's a little hard to get your work out there, but in a city like New York, where there's people on every corner, you can kind of just post up and get it out there.
And what do you think about like being an artist? What made you want to be like an artist? Or is there anything in your childhood
having
that
so
started
many
it?
ideas and then not being able to execute them right. So you have a lot of ideas. You can't necessarily build everything. You can't like produce everything, but at the least you can draw it. You can paint it out. So at least the idea can always put down to paper.
So you would prefer, or you would prefer someone to put it down first and then just work on it later, type kind of?
No, it's just when you have, I guess like a writer might take notes all day, they're not going to be able to finish the entire story.
Just getting more pieces to add to your puzzle.
With each art piece I do, it's like, you know, there's a quote from Raphael that is, no work is finished, it's just abandoned. So I think a lot of artists feel that way, where you're finishing an idea, you're getting it to where other people will understand it, but it may not necessarily be where you want it to be. But nonetheless, you're still going to sketch, you're still going to get those ideas out.
Okay, cool. So
it's a compulsion. It really is a compulsion.
So how was your childhood? Was it really filled with art, or were you like into different things, sports, or?
Not so much art. I was a little bit of everything, man. But I mainly had a family that was trying to get me to work. You know, I was working early. I started working when I was like 14. Right. I knew what money was, and the internet wasn't around, and there were no art jobs. Right. So you're kind of like, I know what cash is, I know what money is. Right. That's the most important thing. So I started working real early.
So now with, you know, how you said like back then it wasn't the internet, and with the internet being there now, how would you say being like an artist is now for you? Does it feel more easier, or?
I mean, it's easier for me. I think some of the other artists might have challenges later when they're used to the real-time simplicity of a computer, where they're able to execute something really quick versus having to do it by hand in front of a bunch of people. You know, you can sit at home very quietly and in peace of mind and produce wonderful work, but it's a lot harder when you actually are trying to make money from it. You got deadlines, you got people with input, right, all kinds of ideas contributing to your idea. You know, that really changes a lot of artists' workflow for them.
How do you feel about New York City, and how do you feel like it shaped the type of art you do, or the perspectives you keep about art?
Yeah, that's two questions. Those are both good questions. The way it shaped my art, I don't know if it's just given me more things to think about, really, or worry about, or be concerned about, or be happy about. There's just a lot more things to absorb and then thus kind of like express. And as far as like, what was the second question?
The second question was like, what was their perspective?
Perspective on New York and art.
Do you think it changed your perspective on art?
No, but I will say that
being from New York, or did it broaden it, or open your horizons, or?
I didn't feel like I was from New York, but I had family members that were all artists, and I was surrounded by artists and creative people all the time. So there was never a lot of hoopla or like, hey, great picture, pat on the back. Like after a while, everyone sees you draw 10 pictures. They're like, well, now you got to make money. That's great. Right. You know, I see you can draw this. I can see you can draw that. But let's see what else you can do.
So how has it been running a business out here, and you know, being in Washington Square?
Well, I mean, first off, I got to say we can't call it a business out here, right? Because most of the time in any sort of New York area where you're performing, dancer, musician, artist, you're actually doing donations. You're not really allowed to vend the ideas that you're supposed to be doing donations, but you also have to be performing. So one of the freedoms you get here as an artist, dancer, singer, you know, somebody that can perform something in front of other people, that as long as you're expressing your work,
talent or something for,
as long as you're expressing your work, your First Amendment rights are pretty good anywhere in New York City, provided you're not obstructing architecture, safety things, or really just, you know, hindering people from getting around. But the ability to post up and start working or making money is just a matter of what you're going to do. Are you going to be an artist? You're going to be a writer? You're going to be a singer? Right. And can you perform in front of people, you know, while you're doing your work? So, let alone the ambulances, the helicopters, the noise, the traffic, the wind blowing my paintings around. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. So, has it been a good time or a bad time with the law? NYC police and stuff like that?
For me
you?
personally, it's been good. I haven't had any problems necessarily, but they do come up with. I feel like they're coming over and doing too much to make their presence known when really, you know, they'll thank me for cooperating, but I should be thanking them for cooperating because I'm actually allowed to do this.
Right.
There's not much they can say to me unless for some reason I was actually
Acting belligerent or something, yeah. Or
but
in
as
the
long
way.
as I continue to paint and do my work and, you know, I think act like a responsible liaison for New York, you know. We're in Washington Square, which is, it's a pretty important park for New York. It's got a lot of history, it's got a lot of energy here.
Right.
And
There's a lot of things going on. I see the skateboarders rolling by.
At one time, the circle was filled with artists. There was bikers. You know, we just had yesterday and the day before, rollerbladers took over the whole park, and I mean took over the entire thing. Just came through.
I would have loved that. I like the rollerblade.
So regarding business, though, that's when I clean up quick too. So you have to know what's going on. The random thing for someone like me is that New York is so diverse. Again, so diverse. A male person will tell you that you could have all 4 seasons on one block.
Right.
Like you'll literally get the wind, the rain.
You can.
And then if you want to move somewhere else, you could end up in a Russian neighborhood. You know, if I was vending and trying to do my art out there, I kind of have to know where I'm at, say hello, which is a lot different than running
get
a
known in
business.
the neighborhood.
It's like the only thing that's different about my business is I have to go to everybody all the time.
You have to come and advertise, or just show it out and let people come look for themselves.
Or do it right in front of them because
I was gonna ask you that
for some
too.
reason they're like, "Did you do this?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Prove it." And you're like,
"Do you draw like right out here?"
Yeah, I
like,
do everything out
here.
here.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, all these were done out here. Everything was done out here.
Wow. See, now I'm kind of feeling like the people. I don't want to believe you, but I believe you.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Okay, so like growing up, did you have like a role model, or were like you like a superhero kid? Like you like anime and think of superheroes as your role model?
Both, man. I mean, I like superhero stuff, but I like superhero stuff when my dad was a superhero to me. My dad really taught me how to do things. My mom, she knew a lot of stuff too, but my dad was super silent about things, and if I needed help with something, he would just show me, or he would put me in a position where I could learn it myself. He did that a lot to me, you know. Wasn't big on words.
How do you think that molded you to be the person you are today?
Well, people will tell me I'm quiet now, but other than that, I mean, I try to get shit done, man. I just get shit done.
That's a good trait to have.
I tell some of the younger artists that come out and ask me questions, I'll say,
yeah, I was going to say that.
My mom would be like, you know, take your time, think about what you want to draw or what you want to paint. And my dad would be like, yo, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? When are you going to get to it? So, you know, living between that simple, both of those worlds.
Just trying to find an in-between between that. I get that. Basically. I get that.
And then I don't get hung up with things like inspiration. I think that's kind of like a bad magic word where you think something is supposed to come to you in order to act or to motivate yourself. But for me, it's usually either the people I'm interacting with that give me energy back or that I give energy.
You just
Yeah. I mean, if you're truly out here doing art, you're super sensitive and super receptive to everything that's going on.
I like that. What would you like advise someone that's young and thinking about doing art, or someone's kind of pushing them away, like, no, maybe go get a job, maybe go do this? What do you think about someone that's having that same kind of
move to another city, get the degree, whatever your degree is going to be, move to an entirely different city, and then try to sell your art in that city where nobody knows you. You know, where no one's going to judge you based on all these things you have on your head. Like, we all grow up with that, hey, my friends know I'm an artist, but nobody really pats me on the back for being an artist anymore. Well, because everyone's used to your work. You know, they're used to what you do. So you got to change your space, change your work.
Change your environment.
Yeah. And then you'll get something more pure out of people who really want to give you feedback. You know?
Ça tue, ça blesse, ça flingue.